Good morning, folks. Nigel, excellent books here. We're just going to have a quick book review on the last book that I've read. Another brilliant book. We're out in the library. We're just in a little spot called Burbage Valley. You can do like a circular walk under the edge. It goes all the way round and comes back. It's about a 3-4 mile loop. I'm on my own today. The wife's got little granddaughter, so she's loving her life. And I'm gonna get my sen sorted. You get a brew sorted. I'm gonna rock my flask and I'll be with you in a minute. So as I say, we're in the bottom of Burbage Valley and it's about, 7 miles just outside of Sheffield, other side of Sheffield from where I live. In the bottom where the wood is, there's about 10 muntjac deer. They're the little deer with the straight horns. And they come up, if you haven't got any dogs with you, they do get quite close to you because people feed them. I have seen them, they're about 100 metres just over the rise there, so with me talking, they might come over. If so, that'll be a nice point, won't it? So what book am I reviewing? I have got... and it's a hardcover. I got it from not my normal bookshop, second-hand bookshop. I just happened to go in the one in my village. There's loads of birds around in this little wood, so if I'll get distracted, it's because of them. So at the bottom of the little village where I live, just on the outskirts of Sheffield, there's a charity shop. And I do go in there to peruse every now and again. And this was on the shelf. Larry McMurtry, Anything for Billy. Pheasant in the background, because we are on moors on the top. It's a first edition. You can see with the numbers there. I'm assuming it's a first edition. And it's the first Larry McMurtry that I have actually read. I know, shock horror. Everyone starts with Lonesome Dove, but I've got that. I'm planning to read that when we come back from our big America trip, so that'll be I shall start reading it beginning of August, I think. But this one, Anything for Billy, it's odd. I have made notes this time. I have made notes. It's about Billy the Kid, but it's a fictional, and I've got this brilliant bookmark. For my Western novels. So it's a fiction story wrote like the old dime novels of Billy the Kid's era, not a fiction. Not historical fiction. So you're all balanced again now. So it's not historical fiction. It's written as a very fast-paced dime novel of the young Billy the Kid. I'm just going to give you a brief overview, really, because it's only 382 pages, and the chapters are literally, the print's pretty big, and the chapters are normally anywhere between 3 and 6 pages long, so it fair skips along. And I right enjoyed this. For my first Larry McMurtry book, I am not disappointed. So it's based around, basically based around Billy the Kid. But the bloke that's telling you the story and writing the story, he's a famous dime novelist from Philadelphia. He's left his family because he's got a very cold-hearted wife, 9 kids. She says to him one day something along the lines of, "Why are you still breathing?" So he thinks, fuck it, gets up, gets himself down to on a boat, then gets on a stagecoach ride from hell, and his name is Ben Sippy. Mr. Sippy, they call him, all the way through the book. Very rarely is he Ben, it's always Mr. Sippy. And he has a ride to Galveston on a stagecoach, and the kid, it's horrendous. The kids are he gives up his seat, the kids on it are throwing up. It's absolutely horrendous. Now, when my kids were little, we went to, I can't remember the town, but there was a stagecoach ride pulled by a team of 4 horses. Halfway round, you got held at gunpoint and asked for your gold. You know, it's all designed for tourists. So I thought, no, I'll stop outside and eat an ice cream in this little village. They went for this ride, about only a 15-minute ride on this stagecoach. When my missus got off, she could hardly walk. She says it was absolutely brutal. So I could not imagine spending a week on a stagecoach, never mind 15 minutes with the suspension on them and what they were going over. Kids loved it. You know, it was great. So that's my experience of not going on a stagecoach using your noddle. And he meets Billy, a young Billy Bone, who is Billy the Kid. If you called him Billy the Kid, he'd shoot you. So he's always referred to in the book as Billy Bone. He's an absolutely shit shot, so he ends up using a shotgun. I don't want to give too much of the story away here because it's well worth a read. It took me, 5 days? So you can fair skip along. If you're a faster reader than me, which 90% of the world is, you could read it in a weekend. So yeah, they take the piss, Billy Bone, Billy the Kid, out of Ben Sippy for a failed, he thinks, you know, I'm going to rob a train. But of course, he's on a horse, riding along at the side of this train, and and it doesn't stop, so he ends up riding for miles and miles. Just thinks in the end, fuck it, it won't stop for me. And Billy the Kid and his mates all take the piss mercifully out of him. But his first meeting is quite nice. How he walks out of the clouds. There's Billy Bone and his best pal, Joe Lovelady, who's a cowboy. He's your ultimate cowboy. Quiet, reserved, heads off in the middle of the prairie, and he takes them straight to where they're going. He can catch food on the horse. They'd be in a right shit state without him, really. So that's Joe Lovelady, who's a key character in the book. Another one, he's called Old Whiskey, and he's Mr. Inglis, and he's the massive landowner in that area of, I think it's Texas or New Mexico, on the New Mexico border. He owns a vast property. He's already had a run-in with Billy. He's offered Joe, like he's that good a cowboy, to run his ranch, but he's turned him down. So he's got a bit of beef with him, and he don't get along. So in the end, that's Old Whiskey. There's a killer who rides a camel, who works for Old Whiskey, called Mesty Wooler. He's from Africa. He plays a key point in the book. There's got to be, it's Billy the Kid, there's got to be a love interest. So the love interest is a woman called Katie Garza, and she's Old Whiskey's daughter, but she is an outlaw herself. She's got a gang. They're called, I couldn't really pronounce it because it was written in Mexican, but it translates to the Turkey Gang. Thankfully, he gave you the translation. Not like Cormac McCarthy, where you have to look them up online. But anyway, I'll get to him another day. And she falls head over heels for a young Billy, who's got very few social skills anyway. Never mind talking to one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen. But she falls in love with Billy, and he's his first love. She saves him when he's going to be hanged. She's the gang leader that saves him. There's another one who is the wife of Old Whiskey. She's Cece Snow. She's an English aristocrat, moved to Windy, what's it called? Windy Flats, Windy Hill. That's what the name, the house slash castle where Old Whiskey, Mesty and Cece live, and the ranch is based. And she cannot stand Old Whiskey, but because he's one of the biggest landowners, if not the biggest landowner, he's got wedge behind him. She wants him dead. He doesn't even sleep in the same house with her because he knows that she'd kill him. And she hates this African bloke who rides a camel, Mesty Wooler. Key point of the story there. But she's the second love interest in Billy Bones, Billy the Kid. So they end up, that's the main list of characters. There are others like Tully, the sheriff, but mainly they're the key players. And there's two others, but they're only in it now and again. So when Mississippi meets Billy and Joe, they end up going to a place called Greasy Corners, which is on Old Whiskey's land. It's just a couple of old, like adobe buildings. It's not a town, it's not even a village, it's just a couple of buildings where one of them owns a bar, there's a whorehouse, and that's about it. And the head for Greasy Corners. Now, it's a place where all the gunslingers hang out, where the ex-buffalo hunters hang out, where the cowboys who were disenchanted from working for Old Whiskey go, and just a real place for scum of earth. If you looked at someone sideways, you'd get shot. So that's why Billy feels safe there, because even at this time, he's got a massive rep for being a cold-hearted killer, although he's not really killed anyone. So they end up having a meeting with Old Whiskey, who wants them all off his land. He wants to shut down Greasy Corners. He says, look, he's come with a group of hired killers and cowboys and says, look, get this in out. I'll be back in a week. If you're still here, I'll shoot you all. So they end up stopping a week, and the night before, they hear these horses, Billy, Joe, end up leaving. Just get hold of the tripod here with this little breeze. Just have a quick look for them deer. They're not here. So they end up leaving and going to a place called Skunkwater Flats, while the gunslingers and buffalo hunters have a shootout with Old Whiskey and Mesty Wooler and the other crew. And they end up on the hunt for Billy the Kid, Joe and his band. And it ends up a big shootout in Skunkwater Flats, it's called. I'd love to know if these places actually exist. I've only read one other book on Billy the Kid, and it was quite a factual, historical, factual book, and I can't remember. It was a long time ago, and I can't remember that much about it, but I would have remembered if somewhere like Skunkwater Flats was mentioned, or Greasy Corners. But anyway, there ends up another shootout. Joe ends up dressing up as Billy and riding out of this little adobe hut in Skunkwater Flats and getting chased by Mesty Wooler on his camel for a week. Everyone's shot, and in the morning, Mississippi and another bloke walk over to the fire where the Old Whiskey and his cowboys are stopping, and instead of hanging him there and then, he talks them round, tells them who he is, this famous dime novelist, and he ends up going to Windy Hill Ranch, and meeting Cece Snow. And he stops there for about, I don't know, a week, a fortnight, something like that. Billy escapes. And although he's having a good time, he realises Cece is a bit of an odd character. She'll sleep with anybody. She'll sleep with any of the cowboys, but all the cowboys know not to sleep with her because old man Whiskey, he'll fucking shoot you. He'll just look at you. He's a bad egg himself. So, long and short of it is, Billy the Kid turns up when she's out painting with Mr. Sippy. They fall in love. They end up making a pact, and they ride off. They do some crucial parts of the story that I'm not going to tell you because of spoilers. You'll have to read it yourself. And they all end up back via a trip to Mexico with Kate Garza and Billy's broken leg, rescued from a lynch mob by a nun. There's a nun in it. She cracked me up. She really did. She reminds me of a nun when I worked on funerals. What was she called now? She's dead now. But anyway, she reminded me of her. I had that nun's picture. I had to go pick her up in a limo and take her to Creme at funerals. But they end up back at Greasy Corners, and you can see what's going to happen. Billy and Cece meet up. One morning, they come out, and there's a big shootout. When they're in a big shootout, Billy gets shot, basically, and dies. And it's not by who you think it is. I'm not giving the ending away. And it's quite a sad ending to Billy the Kid, to be fair, because although he is a cold-hearted killer and he is portrayed in that, he is also portrayed as a young bloke with a lot of problems, and his life has led him to this point. That's how the story tells it. It's a rip-roaring read, really fast-paced. I really enjoyed it, and I will be reading more Larry McMurtry. That is a really brief overview, and once again I have skipped crucial sections. If you want to know more, get the book. You don't have to get a £6 first edition hard copy. You can get it anywhere, basically. And I'm going to enjoy my dinner here in this little woodland, looking at the birds, maybe go find the deer and have a really nice afternoon in the library. Stay gorgeous, keep reading, and have a good weekend, folks. See you soon on the next one. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that gorgeous stuff. Cheers, folks.